All right, welcome again. I never know how to begin these things. Welcome again as I cast out my bait upon a lost sea of soul to see who bites. Ready to go toe to toe with the titan of temptation. To confront that colossal crapola of evil itself. Here we go. Anyway, so the Voluspa is one of my favorite poems for a lot of reasons. It starts at the beginning and it goes to the end, but there's some interesting stuff there when she first comes up. This is a dead person, right? This is a dead person that Odin goes to talk to. I had a thought the other day. How long did Odin's father rule? How long did Odin's grandfather rule? What were the stories of those ages? That's something that has kind of caught my eye because she speaks of it. 9 worlds I knew, the 9 in the tree with mighty roots beneath the mold. I remember yet the giants of yore who gave me bread in the days gone by. She's talking about the rule of Odin's father. She's talking about an age gone by. And I think in that part right there, we get the hint, if we're present in the moment, that there is the outline of a cycle being placed in front of us. The Ouroboros, if you will, the snake that's always devouring its tail, the snake that sheds its skin cannot grow kind of thing. Old tales I remember of men long ago, but she could also be talking about it right now. And that's the kind of thing that blows my mind. She could be talking about it right now. Would you tell her to shut up? Or I will. Yeah, they're in there raising hell. Anyway, that kind of thing catches my eye. It could be long ago or it could be today, right now, what we're facing. Which point of view is going to provide us with the most beneficial aspects to our lives today? Well, they both will. They both will. And how does it start? For one, we have to look at the end of this tale. There's all kinds of interesting ideas that begin to emerge. There are patterns throughout the Voluspa. The appearance of greed, the shaping of men, the leveling of the land, the sun from the south warmed the stones of the earth, green was the ground with growing leeks. That's how it starts again. That's something we can always count on. The sun from the south warmed the stones of earth, and the green was the ground with growing leeks. The sun, the sister of the moon from the south, her right hand cast over heaven's rim. No knowledge she had where her home should be. The moon knew not what might was his. The stars knew not where their stations were. As odd as it sounds, it could also be a magnetic pole reversal. If you haven't watched Suspicious Observers on YouTube, you probably should. That is one of the most science-based approaches to the environment you will ever come across on YouTube. Literally some of the greatest scientific minds of this age with regards to the environment, the influence of the sun on this planet, and everything else are collected in that. And he does it every single day at 5 a.m. without fail and has for years now. But there's a lot of evidence of these kind of things. As the North, and right now the North Pole is moving so fast across the top of the earth that they've had to recalibrate all of the digital guidance systems, the GPSs for the shipping lanes for aircraft. It's moving too fast. It should have lasted for 12 years. It only lasted for 5. So there's that to consider as well. Are we looking at the kind of radical changes to the Earth's environment that led to the extinction of, say, the 35 genera in North America alone at the Younger Dryas Comet impact? Or are we looking at If we go back another 70,000 years to the last interglacial period when life was booming across the earth at that time, and then it also stopped as another ice age developed. The fact of the matter is, on the grand scale and on the small scale, we are always at the mercy, or it would seemingly that we are at the mercy of radical change. Much of it out of our control. And it seems as if in the political landscape, it seems as if in the news, it seems as if we watch the people around us, that we might also succumb to that kind of idea of seemingly being at the mercy of those in the world who are uninitiated and uneducated. And yet I would submit to you that in this tale alone, we might find those ideas that give us what we need to build the strength of character necessary to withstand such an onslaught against what we perceive as our personal freedom. So I will jump to the end. A hall I saw far from the sun. On an astron it stands, and the doors face north. Venom drops through smoke vent down, where around the walls do serpents wind. I saw there wading through rivers wild, treacherous men and murderers too, the workers of ill with the wives of men. There in Nithog sucked the blood of the slain, and the wolf tore men. Would you yet know more? That's the three crimes. That's the three crimes we don't forgive and we don't forget. Treacherous men, murderers, and the deceivers of men's wives. Those are the three we don't fucking ever forget. At the root of each of those actions is man's ego. I'm important enough that I can be treacherous and not have to think twice about it. I'm important enough that I might be willing, I can take that man's life because he slandered who I think I am. And I'm important enough not to care about any of the things going on in that woman's family or that man or those children or what this act is going to do, and I will deceive this man's wife. At the root of all three of those is the idea of an ego. How important we might think we are without ever having to do anything to earn it, to actually live up to it, to actually embrace the idea of being regular for just a second so we might know where to begin. Then to the gods crowed Gullum Camby. He wakes the heroes in Odin's hall. This is Valhalla. And beneath the earth does another crow, the rust-red bird at the bars of hell. Now Garm howls loud before Nipahedr. The fetters will burst and the wolf run free. Much do I know and more can see of the fate of the gods, the mighty in fight. Now, is that the fate of the gods? Or is that the tussle between a man's ability to move up or down his axis mundi with regards to his spirituality on a daily basis? We will inevitably be faced with those things that make us wake up and face the challenges of life. And we might either rise to the occasion or we might succumb to those lower dimensions of hell so we can learn. That is not a punishment to sink to those levels. What do those levels of hell hold? Helheim, her realm. What do they hold? It holds all the knowledge of all the ancestors that have passed on before. That is where you'll find the halls of your ancestors. That is where you find Balder and Nanna at this moment. This is where we might go down to learn. When do you need the reassuring touch of a mother's hand or the reassuring go get 'em boy from a father? When do you need the powerful time-tested love of your grandparents more than when you are at the bottom, when you have not risen to handle the challenges of life, many of which we place in our own way? So that looks like a terrifying passage, but if we apply it to ourselves, well, now we're looking at something very special. Now we're looking at a set of guidance here, if we have the understanding of the inspired and the initiated, of what this really means. Now Garm howls loud at Nipahedr, the Federals, I already read that. Brothers shall fight and fell each other, and sisters' sons shall kinship stain. Why would they do such a thing? Well, because they think they're fucking more important than the other guy. And we see it going on right now across your social justice warrior, your radical left, your radical right. Well, I know a little bit more than you do. I'm a little bit more important. Therefore, I've got a little bit. There's no greater bullshit meter in the world than listening to the intensity with which someone will tell you how right they are concerning this issue or that issue, especially if they don't have any letters behind their name or somebody like me. I feel pretty good about that. Fuck. But listen to some of the radical ideas you see. Listen to some of the radical ideas of people that have been through the ringer and have grasped onto some idea that has allowed them to salvage the most important aspects of their ego without learning from the experience. And there you will find the intensity that brothers will fight with brothers and sister sons shall kinship stain. There you will find the treacherous men, the murderers, and the deceivers of men's wives. So what we're faced here with is not only a war within ourselves, but also a war within the society at large. And I always thought it was odd that within the safe boundaries of that society at large, that we might also find the security enough to bitch about it. As soon as we don't get to, everybody's raising hell. Oh, I can't be on Facebook. Fuck Facebook. Kicked me off for being a whatever. Hard is it on earth with mighty whoredom. Axe time, sword time, shields are sundered. So when our women are in a time when they feel that that is an outlet, you can go to your OnlyFans and see all of them, or Pornhub, or anything else like that, where they believe that their value is the easy buck that they're going to make doing whatever. An axe time, a sword time, we have people fighting in the street. Shields are sundered. Now, what is a shield? It's a defense. It's a protection. And those two things right there, the violence of men and the shaming of our women, these are the kind of things that eat at the defense of who we are as men. These are the kind of things that cast doubt in even the staunchest of thought processes. These are the kind of things that make men question their ability to be able to bear up under the load. A wind time, a wolf time, ere the world falls. Nor ever shall men each other spare. When men are about to go down, I promise you, misery loves company. And people that are miserable will do everything in their fucking power to make sure that you're just as miserable. It'll be a smart ass comment. It'll be a dumbass observation. It'll be something to get you just as riled up as they are, but it has the same effect. Because at some point you'll see through the lie, you'll see through the bullshit. Then where are you? What damage have we caused because we didn't know who we were, because the foundations of who we are were eroded with the mighty whoredom and the violence and all of the other things. Now, I'm not saying to be a prude, and I'm not saying don't be prepared to punch a dude in the mouth. But what I am saying is when it's been so capitalized upon, we might want to be cautious of that, because it might not be serving any better purpose than to make sure the person doing it the most is making money from you. When we say reject the modern world, I look at the modern world and I see a lot of comfort. I see a lot of convenience. And I see a lot of things I really don't want to give up. I like driving around in a big SUV, sucking up gas and creating a carbon footprint and just looking down my nose at electric cars and shit. But we've got to be a little bit smarter about everything we're doing, because we have all aligned ourselves with the fringe element of society. And people are going to look and they're going to say, what the fuck are they doing out there? This is what we're finding. This is what we're beginning to understand, not only about ourselves, but the world we live in. In every generation, there is some individual whose thought process or mind escapes the boundaries of the limitations placed upon them by the society in which they live. And who knows who that could be? Is it going to be, Justin? Is it going to be Paul Wagner? Was it Steve for a time? When men create these ideas with this kind of understanding, look at what they achieve. Outside of much of it done outside of the natural framework we all believe we must follow. And yet, every time we take those perceptions of greatness and then turn them within ourselves, we always rise to the occasion and become something more than we are. Yggdrasil shakes and shivers on high, the ancient limbs and the giant is loose. To the head of Mim does Odin give heed, but the kinsman of Surt shall slay him soon. So Odin has, that's a touchy one, isn't it? Because Yggdrasil is the very gallows upon which Odin sway as he gathered the runes. The head of Mim and the all-knowing, the guardian of Mimir's well, where Odin gave an eye to know all things. And it's all under threat right now, isn't it? The very foundations of everything we have held, maybe not sacred, but certainly stable, is all under threat. With the idea of a disease, tyranny is fostering and prospering in areas we could heretofore never have imagined. The very tree of liberty itself is shaking. And maybe it is too late. But that doesn't mean that we quit what we're trying to do. That doesn't mean that we stop growing the way we're supposed to grow. How fare the gods, how fare the elves? Excuse me, guys. All Jotunheim groans, the gods are at council. So this doesn't only affect us. This is affect even the most simple of individuals. No one is safe from this kind of event. Loud roar, I can't say even that word. Roar the dwarves by the doors of stone. The masters of the rock, would you yet know more? No element of existence is safe from this kind of threat of tyranny. Now Garm howls loud before Nibelheim. The fellows were birthed and the wolf run free. Much do I know and more can see of the fate of gods, the mighty in fight. That's a repeat. From the east Gims hear him with shield held high. In giant wrath does the serpent writhe. Over the waves he twists, and the tawny eagle gnaws corpses screaming. Naglfar is loose. So there's shit coming our way. I mean, I saw a huge fireball in the sky in West Virginia. I saw a report of another one over China on the 23rd. Next thing, it'll be an alien invasion. It won't be a bug we can't see. It'll be a damn alien. Who knows? I mean, 2021 is liable to be a motherfucker. It's everything that we have, everything that we have taken for granted is now could be at risk. Lana said the other day that perhaps there is, she said, pay attention, look for sweeping hate crime legislation. It wouldn't surprise me. Over the sea from the north there sails a ship with the people of hell at the helm stands Loki. After the wolf do wild men follow, and with him the brother of Bialysticos. So with the people of hell, they're talking about those three types of individuals. They're not talking about the halls of our ancestors. They're not talking about some hellish domain of where the straw dead go. They're talking about those three types of individuals: treacherous men, murderers, the deceivers of men's wives. Those are the people that will follow Loki, who really and truly represents the uninspired human intellect, and the ego will run amok. Who else would they follow? Surt fares from the south with the scourge of branches, pure on fire. The sun of the battle god shone from his sword. The crags are sundered. The giant women sink. The dead throng hellway, and heaven is cloven. So even though they're all coming to battle, it's not going to spare anyone. Even the people that think they're on the right side of the fight, even the people that think they're on the winning side. To get someone motivated enough, other than a prize fighter, to get a soldier motivated enough to be willing to take the life of the enemy, there's a certain amount of conditioning that goes into that. Basic training, they shoot at targets that are the shape and size of a man. We watch movies all our lives with radical violence in it. We play games with radical violence in it. We go into the military and we begin to become desensitized. We're shown images of chemical, NBC, of biological attacks that the enemy may have done on its own people, and the horrible blisters and the painful suffering that other people have suffered at the hands of this vile, irreprehensible, brutal people that do not deserve even the benefit of living. I will never forget, and I've said it many times, laying on the DMZ in South Korea, looking across the MDL down my rifle sights at a North Korean soldier, ready to kill him, because if I killed a North Korean soldier, it would create an international incident and I would go home automatically. I did not care if he had a family. I did not care if his mother loved him. I did not care if his daddy gave two shits about him. I didn't care if he had kids. That training is thorough and complete. Right now, it's being enacted en masse as we're all separated in our homes. And if you're a little bit left and say something to somebody on the right that the guy on the right doesn't like, he goes a little bit further right, and the guy on the right will say something to the guy on the left, and he'll go a little bit further left, and we continue to separate. And in that separation, we lose that humanity. We lose the ability to communicate with individuals. We lose the ability to build something that might last or stand the test of time. Does anything stand the test of time? Not according to this. But we do. Individuals do. You can have the most devastating thing to ever happen to the earth. You know who'll survive? Pygmies in Africa, Amazonian tribes, headhunters in Indonesia, some remote village in Siberia, and us. That's how it has to be. That's what this is all talking about. It seems awfully fucking dark, doesn't it? Then comes Sigfather's mighty son, Vithar, to the fight with the foaming wolf, and the giant son does he thrust his sword full to the heart his father is avenged. Hither there comes the son of Lothin, the bright snake gapes to heaven above, against the serpent goes Odin's son, in anger smites the warder of earth. Forth from their homes must all men flee. 9 paces fares the son of Fjorn, and slain by the serpent fearless he sinks. We just lost Odin and Thor. The son avenged him, but he gets the two things that threaten to devour the world, or crush it under, or poison it. We lost our greatest champions. But we also got rid of that evil. We also got rid of that threat. All things balance out. You give a little, you get a little. A little bit is taken, a little bit is given. All things always balance out. There's always a little bad with a little good, and a little good with a little bad. It's just how it goes. Once we can understand that, we can avoid being manipulated with the highs and lows of life by other men who would use our misunderstanding of the highs and lows of life for their benefit, because that's what's happening right now. The sun turns black, earth sinks in the sea. We're at the darkest time of the year. We were. The hot stars down from heaven are whirled, fierce grows the steam and the life-eating flame till fire leaps high about heaven itself. And that stanza right there helped inspire me to write, I forgot which book. Leaf and Leithosir, Life and the Love of Life. Yeah. Could be a reference to the Younger Dryas Comet impact about 12,000 years ago, 12,300 to 11,600 years ago. Because if a comet did strike the Laurentide ice sheet in North America, there would be no impact crater, but it would send up a cloud of ash and dust and steam that would blot out the sun. Tidal waves 1,000 feet high would wash across the North American continent, as they have done, and then into the Arctic Sea. continent-wide wildfires would happen, because this is, you gotta understand, it's not just a one-time event. That shit happened for 20 years. Every 6 months, comets were raining down on Earth, the fragments of that meteorite. All of it's very well documented. Could be that. We might be facing that. We live in a literal shooting gallery of a galaxy. Now do I see the Earth anew. And the whole thing about everything we're doing on the annual cycle centers around, much of it, the sun and Balder. We have gone through the darkest time of the year. We are beginning to see things that might threaten our future. We are aware of ideas and attitudes that, well, they challenge the future of the children we love. But now do I see the Earth anew, rise all green from the waves again. Cataracts fall and the eagles fly, the fish he catches beneath the cliffs. If we use what we find here on ourselves as much as our relation to the world, if we turn it inside of ourselves first and begin to grasp some of the understanding necessary that comes with this lore, we will begin to see the Earth anew. There is many times when I was much younger, I have seen people recover from drug addiction and a light appears in their eyes as they begin to see the world anew. They begin to see good things. They begin to see fellowship. They begin to see positive ideas that abound within themselves every bit as much as they do in the world outside of them. If you're going to partake in a spirituality and it's not providing you with the kind of abundant, positive thought and strength within yourself to help you negate the negative thought processes and thinking that we have been conditioned and are still being trained to receive, then what are we doing here? The gods and Ethival meet together of the terrible girdle of earth they talk, that thing that binds us and holds us back, and the mighty past they call to mind, and the ancient runes of the ruler of gods. In wondrous beauty, once again shall the golden table stand amid the grass, which the gods had owned in the days of old. I had a friend named Dave, and he was in Vietnam, and he told me, he said, you know, we used to sit there and get high in those foxholes, and it pretty much dawned on us that these people in these villages really couldn't give a fuck who ran the country. They wanted to be able to farm their rice and feed their kids. There's a lot of freedom in that. And the foundation of everything we're talking about here gives us the strength to do just that. You people get wrapped up all you want to. I got a family to love and feed. At some point, we've got to become aware of that. And once we get enough people aware of that, then we begin to find strength. Then we begin to find security. I think that's the one thing that intimidates most people about all of this, is that we're so far apart and that everybody's got their own opinion, that there's no security in the strength of this faith among its adherents. Somehow we've got to overcome that. Then the fields unsowed bear ripened fruit. Think about that. All ills grow better and Balder comes back, not before. Balder and Hoth dwell in Hrolf's battle hall. Hoth is the one that shot him. Something magical happens there on that journey as Balder and Nanna travel through Helheim and begin to gather all of the knowledge of those realms and those ancestors, that such as that Hoth, the one that shot him in the heart with the mistletoe, he says, it's all right, come on with me. Let's go see something new. And they dwell in Hrolf's battle hall. That is Valhalla. Then Honir wins the prophetic wand, and I don't know what that means. And the sons of the brothers of Tvegi abide in Vindheim. Now, more fair than the sun, a hall I see, roofed with gold, on Gimli it stands. There shall the righteous rulers dwell, and happiness ever there shall they have. There comes on high all power to hold, a mighty Lord, all lands he rules. Many people would like to use that to call this too heavily Christianized, but we were just told that Balder returned. And he is a mighty Lord. He's also a just Lord. In his home, the fewest baleful runes lie. His son was a God of justice who put to sleep all suits that came before him. There's something very special in that idea as the sun returns to the world as we celebrate Yule and Twelfth Night and all the things that are coming up as the days begin to get longer. We're looking at the return of literally the sun to the world, Balder himself. In those ideas that he might espouse most effectively, it would behoove us to begin to comprehend ourselves so much more than we strive to comprehend the nonsense that's going on around us. You cannot put the cart before the horse. It was in that frame of mind that I did some small amount of writing today. And I put it on my Patreon. And I'm writing about the runes because to me, the runes are something that give us exactly what I'm talking about. That give us that insight, that little pointer along the way. Where is the sign that shows me this is my next step? And so many people would love to know that. So many people would love to know, okay, so I know all of this stuff. I see the challenges. I see all of these challenges lined up against me. I see all of this stuff that I've been conditioned to think. Where's the sign that points me in the direction I need to go now? What should it look like in my life right now? And the runes are that answer. See, the sacrifice of Odin to himself is a thinly veiled reference to his burning away of his own ego. And yeah, I know several people that absolutely hate if I reference the ego as something to be rid of, but it's true. And there's ample evidence of it being the root cause of many of the problems people perceive in their life. And it's all about perceptions. What will other people think? Short answer, it's time to stop giving a damn about that. This is the most surefire way to begin eradicating the oftentimes corruptive influence of a person's ego. If you stop worrying about whether or not somebody is going to say something bad about you, well, you might get a little somewhere in this world. Maybe it comes with being 50. I mean, I think at 50, there's a real true, I no longer really give a shit aspect that happens. I don't know. You get beat up by it. And so hanging from a tree, most likely the Axis Mundi of the universe itself, Yggdrasil, Odin faltered, pierced in the side by his own spear. No food, no water, no help for 9 days and nights. And at the point of death, when he hears the songs of his own ancestors, he falls or is cut down, which I'd like to think he was. And shrieking, he finds the crystallized images of the cumulative body of thought from the realm of the dead, the runes. What kind of message would they send to us? The fucking lottery numbers? Probably not. Images which convey messages most people will never understand. Now, if you look up the runes on any of these sites, it'll tell you 100 different fucking things every one of those images stands for. And this is a problem. Aristotle said that like can only be grasped by like. By that reasoning, then, the divine can only be appreciated by the divine mind, something we should be cultivating as we shed ourselves or divest ourselves of the learning that has created such havoc in our lives. It will never be truly understood by the rationalistic self-deceit so prominent amongst scholars and amateurs of the day. The type of mindset which sets itself above the truth of history. It is not the accumulation of knowledge which most benefits the understanding of these runes. In fact, it is a detriment to such pursuits. What we need is the possession of insight so in tune with our own being that it represents a mainline connection to some deeper, more primal part of the soul itself. That is where you will begin to comprehend what I'm going to write about. Because I'm not going to give you a list of images and symbols so that you might accrue them in some idea which will allow you to neatly sidestep the hard work of living. I'm going to show you the path of life, the path of every person's life. and the promise of what it will look like if you do indeed manage to bear up under the load of this precious gift of living. I assure you that just like everything else, once the hard work is through, the reward is the truly great thing. If you look at the third et of the runes, you start with Tiwaz, the idea of just sacrifice. If you look at the second et, they're not real fun. There's no fun there. You're going to be, it's time of need, everything's frozen over, blah, blah, blah. But then it kind of starts to turn around. Then you might get an elk, and then you might understand Yira or the harvest. And then you might come to a point, and then Sawilo, the sun begins to shine again as you come out of this time of need. Everybody goes through it at some point in their life. Then there's just sacrifice. And then there's Berkano, rebirth and renewal. And it goes on and builds each one up. Manas, Lagus. And you get all Ingus, all of these things that begin to talk about the divine within man. And as you end it, they alternate between Dagaz and Othala. Dagaz being the new day, Othala being the bright homeland. We just read in the Voluspa, same fucking thing, that these images, these ancient images, that, some say they first appeared with the Etruscans in northern Italy. Who knows how old they are? But these ancient images that convey the ideas of the path of a man's life, they do require that kind of mainline connection to the primal aspect of the soul for us to begin to understand the path that we should be on. And I assure you, it is not following the herd and listening to the news and spending our time getting wrapped up in ideas we can't do a fucking thing about. So put your bullshit meters on, because tomorrow's Monday. And I actually do have to work. Fuck. So I'm going to grab it by the nose and go out there and whip its ass. Anybody got any questions?
Thank you, Brian. That was awesome.
You're welcome. I'll sit here and drink my peach Bellini.
It's a very manly drink, Brian.
It's called confidence. I brim with it. Brimming with it. It's like a poison. I'm gonna bottle it up and call it Black Tiger Sex Machine and sell the fuck out of it.
Why do you do this?
Because if you ever take yourself too seriously, you'll go insane. Don't forget that, Zoe. I was going to call it Egyptian musk, but I was too afraid of people getting the image of peeling that foreskin back to get it. It was like, no, I ain't gonna do that. Ooh.
Oh my God.
Stay away from there.
Well, I'll see you later, Brian.
Okay.
This is a family show.
Bullshit.
I regret having ears.
I'm sure you do. Cover your ears real quick, because I got one more.
Oh my God.
Goddamn. Anyway, it smelled really good, but I immediately got an image of a dick in a box, and I was like, God damn it. Anyway, anybody got any questions about any of the wonderful stuff I was saying and not this lunacy I fucking dance around?
I think I'm good.
Good. Okay. All righty then. Renee, I see you hiding there.
Yeah.
How was your Christmas?
Hey, you're working.
How was your
I like that.
honey? Huh?
Oh, it was all right. How about yours?
I did a 8-hour drive through a blizzard in Minnesota to get to Oklahoma with 3 kids
Wow.
in the back seat.
Wow. That's great. You got there.
Yes. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great. It was good stuff.
Are you living in Minnesota now?
Yeah, I start a job up there on next Monday.
Wow.
Once I
That's
get
good news.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be pretty good. I mean, 6 months or a year, I could be on here belly aching, crying like a bitch, needing to take a red pill. You know, who knows? Right now, it seems pretty good. If she was in here,
That's
she'd
good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Good for you.
Okay, where's the seasoning at? Why are we not promoting that yet?
It should be here this week, and I've got the labels. I've got everything except the actual ingredients. I'm going to call them tomorrow, because it's coming from California. I'm not, what's taking so long?
Okay, probably COVID.
Oh, I forgot about that mess.
Yeah, it's a COVID delay, I'm sure. It took almost 90 days to get my last book on Audible.
Wow.
Because of COVID. Courage, love. But yeah. Well, good. You gotta let me know about that spice, because I'm gonna tell everybody that this show is promoted by.
You will be the first to know, and I'm that close. As soon as I get the spice, I've already talked about what I'm going to use to mix it and pour it in there, and everything else is ready to go. I'm ready to sell. So yes,
Yes,
we will
like
be
we live on
powered by
Dune.
this. Yes.
It's like we live on Dune. The spice is the reason. Anyway, get you a couple of little grocery stores, man, and get you going. Yeah. All right. Well, good. I hope everybody had a happy Christmas, Merry Yule, and I would say happy Hanukkah and a great Kwanzaa, but I don't know if it'd go over very well. So I'm going to leave that out. I'll quit being a dick and get off here because I may have had too much.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you guys later.